What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Ace Poker, and for the first time in a very, very long time, I forgot to film the intro. So this is actually after the session, and let me tell you, wow, what a rocky session. So many all-ins, so many big pots, up, down, up, down, up, down. Crazy action. Stay tuned. Short intro. Let's get right into it. Back to the home game today. Same game as always, but we have some different places coming up soon. Thank you guys for watching. Let's get right into it. All right, welcome back to another episode. We get things started right away with pocket queens. The ladies, there's an open to 20. You know we're 3-betting these bad ladies to $80. Gets back to the initial raiser, and he makes the call, so we're just going heads up. Let's see a good flop to start the day. King of clubs right in the window, followed by the ace of clubs. Could it get any worse? A third club, pretty good. And in the moment, I did not look back at my cards to see if I had the queen of clubs. Obviously, you guys and me now can see I do have the queen of clubs. So, pretty good board, I guess. Definitely should hit my range better. So, I continue for $80, and my opponent thinks it over for a little while and then folds. I now look at my card, see I have the queen of clubs, and decide to show it. Some of you guys in the comments are always like, why are you showing your hands? Why are you showing your hands? What are you doing? Listen, it's a friendly home game. I'm not like some nit with my headphones on. I'm just trying to have fun. I show cards here and there. Get over it. You're going to have to just deal with it. Definitely a good start, though. As you guys know, I love my cushions to start the day early. We then raise a beautiful hand, ace, king of hearts, and I've asked you guys this a lot. What is your favorite suit? I don't know. I think I'm stuck between hearts and spades. Those are both my favorite, but anyways, there's a $10 straddle on and one call, so we bump it up to $40 and everyone folds. Looks like just premium hands today, and we're on to the next. We missed those ladies, so we get them back, the black pocket queens. Folds to us, we open it up to $20, and everyone folds again. Yay! Poker is so fun sometimes. I'm having such a blast. Let's see if we can get some callers in the next hand, maybe? Alright, well, buckle your seatbelts and strap in because this hand is nothing short of crazy, crazy, crazy action. We look down at ace nine of spades on the button. There's an open to $15, and when it gets around to me, yes, obviously, we can 3-bet, and you guys know I love to put in the 3-bets when there is an opportunity to. But in position here with a suited ace, I think it's actually best to call here, and one of the reasons for that is there could be a player in this hand that has less spades than us. You know, any king high, queen high, jack high, 10 high spades, anything like that. If there's a spade flop, 3 spade flop, 2 spade flop, we could get it all in and win a massive one. So I put in the call, and we're going about 6 ways here to an amazing flop. Like I said, there's the spade draw, plus we have the straight draw to the 3. Obviously, an amazing, amazing, amazing hand here. A player in early position now bets out for just $20, and now I decide to put in the raise to $80, and the player to my left in the small blind decides to go all in for $200. I'm thinking, alright, the other player's going to fold, I'll just call, we'll get it all in here for just a little short pot, maybe about a $500 pot. But the player who bet first decides to flat call the $200. Now this is an extremely, extremely weird line, and although it appears weak, I think it's actually very strong, because let's say he just flopped a straight, a set, a very strong 2-pair, and he wants to get this all in. What's the best way to do that here? Just flat calling, because if he rejams here, that shows extreme strength, and I could get away from a lot of my crazy strong hands here with all of this action in front of me. So I debate for a little while, but at the end of the day, I think I have enough equity against any type of hands, and I want to get this all in now or push him off of the hand. I think I'm sitting with enough money to push him off of the hand. He covers me. I have about $800 or $900 here at this point. So I decide to go all in myself. Yes, the action went bet. I raised. Somebody basically put in a 4-bet on this flop. The initial raiser cold called the 4-bet, and then I 5-bet jammed. Oh my goodness. This is crazy action, and now the first player starts to think. We fade the snap call, which is very, very good, so I might be wrong on the fact that he has a really strong hand. He thinks, he says it's so disgusting and so gross, and then ends up folding. So It's just me and the player to my left in now a $700-ish pot because, 2, 4, 6 plus another 100 there. I say to the other player, how many times do you want to run it? And he says 3 times, and thankfully we go 3 times because we bricked the first run out, we bricked the second run out, but we hit a spade on the third run out. And my opponent actually flopped a straight, so we were in kind of gross shape. We only had a few outs to chop, and then obviously all the spades. Couldn't connect at all, and the other player actually said he just had a straight draw and a flush draw, and he would have bricked every run out. So if he made the call, we would have actually won a massive pot with just ace high. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think about the jam, because if I just flat called and then we get it all in on the turn, or if he called my jam, I would have won, like I said, a massive hand. And just a fun fact, the timing on this clip was 4 minutes, 44 seconds. If you guys follow me on any of my socials, that's all the end of all my socials. It's my lucky numbers. I also have it tattooed on me for those that don't know that. And, that's how this hand went. So let me know what you guys think, and we're on to the next hand. Alright, maybe our luck is turning around as we flop a set with pocket 3s. You guys know if there's a low pocket pair in here, we normally have a set. I played sneaky, I just checked the flop, it checked all the way around, and now the initial raiser in the small blind decides to bet out here, and I just put in the call. Although this turn did bring in a flush draw, sometimes you gotta play it sneaky and have some really strong hands in just your calling range. And you guys know, and the players that I play with that I know normally know that I raise draws and strong hands as well. So when I'm calling, I might not have that strong of a hand, so you gotta mix it up sometimes so nobody knows what you have. We see a good river, and now my opponent checks, and I decide to go big like I missed something, or I'm going for some type of value with a strong top pair. I bet basically the pot, and my opponent thinks it over for some time because, like I said, I'm polarized in these spots. I either have a really strong hand or nothing, and that's what I like to do when I bet pretty big. And eventually my opponent puts in the call. We show the 3s were good. He mucks. Never got to see what he had, but I'm happy that we take this one down, and let's continue to run it up. For the next hand here, we look down at the good old ace-king offsuit. Seems like we look down at this 8 or 10 times every single time we come here, but there's an open to 20, one caller, and we decide to 3-bet it up to $90. And only the initial raiser decides to make the call, so me and him are going to a board which obviously we miss. Jack 5-3 rainbow. Not the best board at all. He checks it over to me. He only has about $200 in his stack, which is just about the pot. So I think that there's really only one sizing to take here if I'm going to bet, and that is going to be all in. If I size way down and decide to bet $50, he's going to be committed to calling anything on the turn basically. So I just like the jam here, and he thinks it over for quite some time before flicking in the call. So it's obvious we are going to need to hit an ace or a king, which we do not. And sure enough, my opponent turns over pocket 10s. Let me know down below how you guys would have played this hand and how you think I would have played it. I'm not quite sure. I chose the best line here because I do think if I had aces or kings, I would size down and bet 50 or 60 on that flop and then commit him on the turn. But I wasn't really trying to get a call, so I kind of like the jam there on the flop. But, as always, let me know what you guys think down below. Alright, this next hand is definitely something that I'm not proud of, but that's part of the vlog and just part of the honesty and truth. Not every hand, not every session is going to go the way that I want or planned, and that's just how it is, and part of my real life emotions and the fact that I'm also 22 years old. Got a lot of stuff to learn, but I do think the best way to learn is to just play and learn from my mistakes, and I'm happy that I get to do that for all of you guys and for myself in basically reviewing all my hands here. So I decided to call $35. Yes, $35 with 5-8 suited. There was a raise and 2 callers in front of me. I am stuck. I am frustrated. I can't hit a hand. Trying to get some revenge, and gets the best of me. So I call, looking for a good board, and when you call 5-8 suited, what a better board to get than this. A gut shot along with a flush draw against some players who probably connected pretty hard to this board, so we definitely could get it all in as maybe a 35% or 40% underdog. And in my current state of mind, I am willing to take that risk. So let's see how the action goes. The initial raiser continues for $35 again. The next player calls, and now the next player decides to raise it up to $150. And like I said, this board definitely can and will connect with these players quite often here. So, I don't know. I think that the player to my right definitely is showing a strong hand. But let's say he has the strongest hand of them all, top set. We would still have 40% against top set or any set interchangeably. So like I said, I'm willing to get it in if I could get in as a 40% underdog. The absolute worst spot I could be in is if he flopped a straight in 8-10. And look, I'll still have 36%. So like I said, if I'm fine with getting it in 35, 40%, then this play is perfectly fine, but it's hard to put someone on 1 or 2 hands. So if he also can have straight and flush draws, if he can also have 2 pairs, if he can also have over pairs, not quite sure he would, because then he would have 3-bet that pre-flop. But mixing in all the hands he can have here, if maybe worst case scenario I'm at a 40% underdog, I really like the play of going all in, because if they make the call, if one or more players make the call and we have 40% as the worst case scenario, I really like those odds. So I decide to go all in, and the first player decides to call right away. She had less. She had, I think, roughly 250, and the other player who 3-betted up to 150 had about $500 behind, because it was the same player from last hand that I gave all my chips to. I doubled him up, so I think he's got about $500 here. And he also pretty much snap calls, so I think that I might be screwed unless the initial raiser has, pocket aces, pocket kings, pocket queens, and the other player has 2 pair or a set. Like I said, I'll have 40% and I'll take 40%. But it comes quickly apparent that the initial raiser has ace queen of clubs, which is just a dagger to the heart. That's disgusting. There's basically no way that I win the main pot unless I see a 10. And the other player has a set. So yeah, this is actually probably the worst case scenario out of everything. I essentially need a 10 as a clean out to take the entire pot down. But I do need a club just to take the side pot against the player with the set, and I would maybe make a little bit on this hand. But the board runs out, and the player has a full house. So, yeah, that's a quick masterclass on why you stay patient and don't play 5-8 suited. I know there's going to be a lot of comments on this down below. But once I decided to make the call after seeing this flop and this action, I do like the jam. But after thinking about it for a little while, the player to my right is on the tighter side and isn't really willing to get things in unless he has a strong hand. So when he raises, I think I can fold here and just get away from this hand. I don't have to put myself in that position where I go all in. But we did, and like I said, I can only show you what I did and what happened, and then just review it after the fact. So let me know what you guys think down below. And for one of the first times in a really long time on the vlog, I am rebuying mid-session, so let's see how it goes. So we sit back down with $500 and look at some really good hands, but unfortunately, I think I'm going to try to wait it out and get a little bit better of some hands here. Did I learn? Did I take my lesson from my crash course on not to play 5-8 suited? No, I'm playing it. And guess what? We're going to win this one. I call a raise to $25 and so do 2 other players, and we flop yet another flush draw, and I mean, listen, we didn't hit the earlier one, we haven't really been hitting many draws, we gotta hit one, right? The initial raiser bets out for $25, and I decide to raise this one up to $75, and the player on the button basically snap calls the $75, which then brings in the initial raisers. What is going on? What did I get myself into again? Oh my goodness, is this going to be a repeat of the earlier hand? Am I going to get sent home today twice, packing with 5-8 suited both times? What is going on? Is this even actual real life? Is this real poker? So it looks like we are going to need this heart on the turn and bank. The 2 of hearts, let's go. We are saved. We hit the flush. I'm a little worried that someone might have a higher flush with how this action has went. The initial raiser checks. I decide to now bet out for just $100, and the player to my left thinks about it for a little while on the button and decides to go all in for about $130, which makes the initial raiser fold. Obviously, we are going to put in the call. We see a clean river, and we show our flush and win. The opponent said he had 2 pair. Let's go. We get some of our money back with the 5-8. I thought it'd be a little bit funny to play 5-8 again, And, maybe you should play 5-8. I don't know. But let's go. Look at all those chips pushed our way. We finally have some momentum. We're finally headed in the right direction. Let's see if we can get unstuck. Let's even see if we can book a win, per se. We are on the comeback trail, about $800 here, so up about $300 from our second buy-in. Let's get all the way unstuck. For the next hand here, we look down at ace-2 of spades and decide to raise it up to $25 and get a couple callers, and we flop an ace. It checks to me. I decide to c-bet for just $35 and everyone folds. And guess what? I got something for you guys that get pissed when I show the cards. Guess what I showed? I show a 2. Get them thinking. How about that? Alright, and as you guys see, I don't even stop the recording. The next cards are dealt. I'm in the free $10 straddle, and we look down at ace jack offsuit, and as you can see, the entire table calls $10, the whole table. So I have the option to raise or check. I raise, I make it $60 more. Let's punish those limpers and get only one caller. These home games are always really funny to me because the person who called here limped $10 and then called $60 more. What hands are you putting somebody on that are going to limp and then call a 6x raise? I'm not really sure, but let's go to a flop. We're headed just me and him to a flop in which we flop an ace. I check, he checks it back. The turn is good. I c-bet and he just folds face up pocket sixes, so it looks like he was just going set mining. Not going to hit one there, thankfully. And let's go. We are on the right track now. We're up about $400 from our buy-in. We only have another $300 or $400 to go to get unstuck. Let's see if we can do it. I then proceed to go on a very long streak of not good hands, followed by a streak of getting really good hands, suited connectors, suited aces, pocket pairs, and not hitting one single flop, which then brings us all the way down to the last hand of the night, which is yet another interesting hand where we may or may not have yet another draw. As the night goes on and sort of starts to wind down, there are less and less players at the table, so we're a bit short-handed here. I'm on the button on the $10 free straddle. Both players make the call and I bump it up to $20 more, trying to just mix it up and get something going. Both players make the call and we see an alright board that's definitely much better for us. We have a pair, so when it checks to us, I decide to check, and we see a good turn, as like I said, we have yet another flush draw. This time it's the hearts, but seems like hearts have been better for us. We've been getting there with the hearts. The first player decides to bet out for $25, and look, I don't raise every flush draw. I decide to just make the call. I don't want to go bloat a pot that we just have a queen on, and the queen could even be just good if she has a lesser flush draw herself, or maybe is now betting a pair of fours. Who knows? And now we get there on the river, but not the flush, an unconventional 2-pair, which I do think is the best hand at the moment. She now decides to bet $20, which is less than what she bet on the turn, and like I said, these home games are very interesting all the time, so I decide to just raise it up to $100. She thinks for a super long time and decides to put in the call. I show the 2-pair and it's good, and we take down the last pot of the night. Nice to go up a little bit from our second buy-in. Still down on the night, but let's head to the outro. Alright, back in the car. Yet another just an eventful meh session. We wound up losing $350, but it's not that bad because after we went all in with the 5-8 suited, we were down $800. We actually rebought today. A lot of people say, oh, why don't you rebuy? Why don't you rebuy? Today we did, and we wound up making then $450 after I rebought. So essentially the difference today was that 5-8 hand and the hand with the ace king. That was that. I mean, if we could have got lucky one time, we would have profited $1,500, $1,400 today. So, I mean, that's poker. Very card dead. Seems like my sessions have been like that lately. And like I said in the intro, I took an incredible beat last night online playing on X Poker. Got it all in with aces against kings and jacks and king on the river. I never really, I always take beats in stride live and online, but I actually was sick to my stomach after that. I couldn't believe that. Just because the person who had the kings was a fish, and I just, hate to lose to the fish like that. But that's what happens. That's poker. Just have to keep grinding. Appreciate you guys. As always, thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.